What's up, guys? I'm BTC. Welcome back to the Respawn, where I answer your questions. Today's a special edition where I'm going to be discussing the brand new hero concept, Aries. A few days ago, I made a hero concept video for an Omnic tank named Aries. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'm going to put a link for it on screen and down below so you can go and check it out, because the rest of the video you might be a little confused and not understand what we're talking about. So today, I am going to be answering questions specifically about that character, the hero concept, and how some of his interactions would work. First thing I want to clear up is how much health and armor Aries has. For whatever reason, I didn't include it in the video. I actually spent a decent amount of time trying to figure this out. I had it on my Excel spreadsheets and I just didn't put it in the video, so little mistake on my part. But the answer is, I think Aries would have 250 normal health and 250 armor. I considered maybe 200 health and 300 armor, but that might be a little bit too high, so 250 is where I ended up. So the first question is, should he have a passive ability? I also gave this a little bit of thought, and there was a couple of possible ones that I could have added, but ultimately I decided that he didn't need a passive. Do you think it would be more low skill or high skill hero? I think it's a very easy character to just pick up and start using, but Aries is also a character that it's very easy to make a lot of mistakes on. For example, if someone is using Sunder way too often and they're just kind of spamming it every time it's off cooldown, you're going to end up finding yourself in a lot of trouble, and when you need to use your abilities, you're not going to have them. So easy to use, but easy to make mistakes on as well. What would be the best counters for Aries? Anything long range and flanking. So if you can get around him into the back line, then a lot of what he can do isn't going to be effective, or if you can just attack from really long range. He is kind of an anti-brawling character, a choke point character. That's where he's going to be most effective. Do you think that if Aries enters Overwatch, it would be modified? I find it extremely unlikely that they're going to add it in the first place, but if they ever did, I'm certain they would make changes to, at a minimum, his stats. How quickly does his ultimate charge? So this is a good question. Here's a little chart right here. These are some of the ultimate charge requirements for other characters and their ultimates. Because it's a defensive ultimate, it is going to be on the higher end, but because it's not quite as good as like a Lucio or a Zenyatta, I would say probably around 15 to 1800 for a charge rate, to give you an idea of how fast he would get it. How large is his shield compared to Rhine and Irisa? So this image right here should give you a pretty good idea. It covers more than the character, but it doesn't go quite as far as the Rhine or the Irisa barrier. Because one of the things that was brought up was, is this just going to be a personal shield like Brigitte? The answer is no. It's definitely going to extend past his left and right sides. Also, it's going to extend a little bit above him and below him into the ground. So the circle part of the shield is actually going to go down into the ground, and this is going to help you block certain things like a Reinhardt Earth Shatter, because that was also brought up. If it has a very small amount of contact with the ground, then it's going to be easy for things like Earth Shatter and whatever in order to go through it. But no, the shield will go down into the ground, and just like the other barriers, so that way it gives you that sort of protection. How long does the 50% healing reduction last? I think it should probably be about 4 seconds, maybe 3 seconds, but I'm leaning more towards 4. And I know some people are going to think that that's too much because the ability itself is on a 6-second cooldown. But to give you an idea of how the ability works, here's Doomfist right here. When he uses Seismic Slam, you're going to move forward in kind of an arc, and once you press the button, you lose control of your character. He's just going to start moving, and that's where you end up. That is kind of how Aries' Sunder ability would work. So if someone is standing right next to you, you're not going to be able to use it on them all the time. You're going to have to actually back up, get some space, and then use it. And there's a lot of situations where you're just not, like, you can't just spam it over and over. It would be really bad, particularly since you're supposed to be the barrier, you're supposed to be the tank for your team. And if you're spending your whole time just kind of hopping around using your Sunder, then you're never going to have your barrier up, and you're never going to be blocking that damage from your team, and they're just going to get destroyed, and then you're going to get destroyed after that. So the idea between the Sunder having a low cooldown is more about being able to use it when you need it, as opposed to using it frequently, because using it all the time would be bad, and it was specifically designed for that, you know, to have that kind of a balance to it. How did the name Aries come to mind? I got it from some speculation from last year. There was, I believe, a Greek voice actor who put Overwatch on his work page or something like that, and people found it out and they thought maybe he's voice acting for a new hero, and there was some other stuff, and basically all that speculation came about, maybe he was Aries, kind of like the foil to Overwatch's Athena. So that was kind of the idea. I took that name and I just decided to use it for my character because there was a lot of cool stuff that I could do with it. Are you going to do Jetpack Cat next? Not next. I have some other stuff in mind. Jetpack Cat is actually a surprisingly difficult character to create. I was trying to think of some abilities, and it's just really, really difficult to find something that's going to work well. In what other comps besides anti-goats do you think Aries would be effective in? Any 2-2-2 lineup, any standard where you would normally have Reinhardt, you could just replace him with Aries, and it would run mostly the same, but there would be some distinct differences based on how Aries and Reinhardt function, but really any 2-2-2 would work. What would his ultimate voice line be? I didn't include it. I was thinking something like maybe hold the line or proceed no further, something like that. Any word from Blizzard yet? No, they haven't called me. Can he attack while holding the shield up? That was actually one of my original concepts for this character, was to allow him to attack with the shield up, but unfortunately there's something that you really need to be able to do when the shield is up, and that is you have to be able to look around. So there's this functionality with Reinhardt where while you're holding the shield up, you press your primary attack button and you get free control of your camera. This is incredibly useful for the person playing Reinhardt. You can look behind you to see what your DPS and your supports are doing. You can look to your flanks, all that sort of stuff. So if I were to add in the functionality of having Aries attack, then you would lose that camera control. So I don't really think that was a good idea, and I thought the camera control was more valuable. So I built the rest of the character for Aries around not being able to attack through the shield. If he had been able to attack through the shield, then some other stuffs would have been different. Can people behind Aries get anti-healed when he is ulting? During the Phalanx, the teammates behind you are immune to crowd control. So sleeps, stuns, slows, that sort of stuff, it doesn't work. However, anti-heal is a debuff. Same thing with Zenyatta's Discord, also a debuff. And even, I would say, Sombra's Hack would be classified as a debuff and not crowd control. So all of those debuffs will apply to your teammates behind you. The crowd control stuff, like the stuns and the knockbacks, do not. How does EMP affect the ultimate? For Aries, if he's already in that invulnerability mode, just like Zenyatta, the EMP is going to have absolutely no effect on him. However, as I mentioned earlier, because it's a debuff, it would affect all of his teammates that are behind him. So everyone would still get hacked, but they would still regain their immunity to other CC, and they would also still have that damage resistance as well. Does Aries hate Talon? Yes, he hates all humans and all the Omnics who aid them. Because of this, he would see Maximilian and Doomfist and Talon in the same exact way as he would look at Torbjorn, Reinhardt, and Athena. He would see all of them as being his enemy. Do you have any more hero concepts? If so, please make future videos on them. I definitely will. The response to Aries was overwhelmingly positive, and it's a lot of fun to try to create these new characters. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a video game designer when I grew up. Not quite in that profession right now, but kind of close, I guess. And also, when I first started this YouTube channel, it was for Minecraft custom maps. In case you didn't know, I made some of the most popular Minecraft custom maps that have ever been made, and they were some of the most highly downloaded. So I really enjoy game design. I really enjoy coming up with these new ideas and stuff. And as of right now, I have a bunch of concepts that I'm currently working on, and I already have the entire kit for these characters done. So, I mean, all of the attacks, the abilities, the ultimates, all that sort of stuff. Right now, I have a main healer, an off healer, a DPS, and a tank. Plus, I also have a couple of others that are still in the really early stages. So, yes, there's definitely going to be more of that coming. But that's going to be all the questions for this week. Thank you to everyone who submitted one. And if you didn't get picked, make sure to try again next time. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.